Hello and welcome to the FATBOSS guide to the Council of Blood in Castle Nathria.
So this 3-boss fight has changed a whole lot since beta and is now essentially a brand new fight. To add, it's actually difficult now and we have a fair amount to break down for you, so let's jump straight in.
So we have 3 bosses to deal with, all with their own individual health pools. However, once one of them has been killed, the others will heal back to full, so you want to focus on killing them one by one. Additionally, each boss will gain a new ability or become empowered in ways when another boss dies. So instead of going through all of the different abilities they gain individually after another has been defeated, we'll just show you the strategy we use and the information that's only relevant for our particular kill order. So let's go through that order now, as well as the boss's base abilities. Looking at Niklaus first, he will hit the tanks with Duelist Riposte. This physical damage hit applies a debuff, making you take 100% more damage from the next riposte. For this, you just want to swap on 2 stacks. Meanwhile, Stavros will hit the tanks with Evasive Lunge. He will teleport directly behind you and then dash through you, dealing damage to all players caught and debuffing them, increasing the damage they take from this by 100%. You want to tank him in such a way that no one is ever in front or behind you, that way only you are hit by the dash. Like the riposte, you want to taunt on 2 stacks. As for Frida, she has no tank mechanic, and instead either of your tanks can tank her at all times. However, she does have 2 annoying casts. She'll do large damage on random targets over a channel with her Drain Essence cast, and she will also cast Dreadbolt Volley. If this goes uninterrupted, then the entire raid takes a nasty burst of damage followed up by a dispellable dot. So you want to make sure you have a kick rotation to make sure this never goes off. As this cast is annoying to manage and her empowerments are slightly scarier to deal with than the other 2, you actually want to kill Frida off first. Now the other 2 things to watch out for is when Niklaus calls in his attendant. This ad will run to the lowest health boss and make them damage immune until the attendant is killed off. All DPS should swap to this ad immediately whenever he spawns. And lastly, Lord Stavros' Dark Recital cast. This ability is by far the most deadliest and easiest to get wrong in the entire fight. Multiple people will be linked to a partner, taking small ticking damage if they're more than 8 yards apart. That doesn't sound too bad, but worst of all, you will be spawning zones underneath yourself regardless if you're close or not. These little zones explode very quickly and deal massive damage to anybody who's standing within them. So just before the Dark Recital is cast, you want to pre-spread and watch your feet as you run over to your partner, whilst the rest of the raid keeps well clear of you. Now whilst running around, you need to make sure that you stay on the dance floor, as trying to leave it will instantly knock you back and you could land back into your circles and instantly die.
The only other mechanic in play is the Oppressive Atmosphere debuff that is slowly stacking on the raid. This dot starts off easy, but above the 6 to 7 stack mark it becomes quite problematic and you'll need to start chaining healing cooldowns. The only way to reset the stack amount is by pushing a boss to 50% health or killing one of them off. This acts as a DPS check because if you're too slow, your stacks will go too high and your healers won't be able to keep up. To make this DPS check more achievable, healers should damage the primary boss when the raid stacks are below 3, as there is very little healing to do before this point, providing no one else in your raid is hit by mechanics. Now when a boss hits 50%, you'll also get the worst mechanic in the entire expansion, the Dance Macabre. All bosses will leave the encounter space and every raid member will get a beam of light appear for them somewhere in the room. This is the starting location for your dance. You'll want to set up a gateway across the middle of the room to get to the beams on the far side of the dance floor. Shortly afterwards, NPCs will come in and begin dancing, moving either left, right, up or down. Each time you successfully follow their dance steps, you gain a buff increasing your haste by 3% for 30 seconds, stacking up to 6 times. If you fail the dance or don't make it to your dance location, you are given a debuff that deals increasing ticking damage until you start dancing properly again. After getting your 6th stack, you can run back towards the boss and the fight repeats. Once you finish focusing off Frida and you've got her out the fight, Stavros will gain Walks of Blood. This causes dancers from above to descend on the ballroom and fly around, dealing massive damage to anyone caught in their path. You'll want to make hard movements here as a tank to move the boss into empty areas of the room, and the raid will want to follow. As for Niklaus, he'll gain the ability to summon Dredger Servants. These guys will spawn around the edges of the room and will simply throw food at the raid. This deals bursts of nature damage to random players. You'll want to kill these off as soon as possible using grips and knockbacks and stuns once they're in melee to stop them from casting. As these ads are a little annoying to deal with, you'll want to make sure that you kill Niklaus next.
Now once it's just Stavros remaining, he'll gain his final empowerment. On Heroic from this point onwards, whenever you move you will gain a stacking movement speed reduction debuff that only drops when you're standing still. This makes dealing with the Dark Recital a bit more of an issue if you have to move a load beforehand. So keep movement to a minimum to not get caught off guard. Now additionally in this final phase, Stavros will cover the entire room with dancers. These casters will explode after 15 seconds, dealing lethal damage to all players nearby. One random set, however, will be targetable. So you've got to nuke down this single dance set before the room explodes, giving you a safe spot to stand in. Now this can be pretty tight for your DPS, so the best way of doing it is lusting for the first set and using the haste buff from the 50% dance on the second set. If you're still struggling with this, you may want to organise DPS cooldowns for each to make sure they're both covered. Now if you do end up getting a third, it is unlikely you'll have the damage to deal with it, especially at this stage of the expansion. Now one thing that makes this entire process more difficult is that the dark recital will overlap with these dancers. You want to make sure that you deal with it just as you have been, just keep in mind that you need to get back to the safe spot before the explosion, so kite your circles nearby to avoid being caught out. But that's the encounter. Just hope that you've got enough DPS to stop the raid dot from stacking too high and that you're able to kill the dancers before the room explodes.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to know more about this encounter, or perhaps you'd like to try a different kill order, then go check out our guides over on Wowhead. A link for that can be found in the description below. Take it easy, and we shall see you all in the next one.
Thanks for watching.